My third malware sample with Wireshark is a keylogger. Keylogger is probably the most difficult of the three because it's quite stealthy and it is more difficult to detect its activities. Let's turn on Wireshark first and then run the keylogger. This keylogger is a Windows executable file, but it has disguised in itself as a PDF file. So when you click on it, it does not open a PDF, but it has run the program. So firstly, let's generate some traffic. There appears to be an update on Chrome. There could be some activities running in the background. Let's go and perform some failed login as usual. Okay, so we have performed a failed login. Let's go to a local website that I've set up on another VM and perform a login. And enter some text to post into a forum, then log out. And let's generate some local traffic. After doing all those activities, nothing seems to have happened because keylogger is very stealthy. It's persistent and it's there for the long haul. Okay, now that we have captured the pcap file, let's open it in Wireshark. For a change, let's look at the load distribution because most of the malware perform the same thing, which is network surveillance and gather information from the network. And we can also see from this malware sample that it's also performing activities by reaching out to 239.255.255.250, which is the broadcast IP address used for universal plug and play device discovery on local networks. This is to gather information on the network environment, and we can see that it's quite substantial, 135, despite not doing anything or accessing any network devices earlier. Let's also look at some endpoints. Well, many of the endpoints have been assessed, although I've only been to 2 websites, but there are many endpoints being assessed. Let's look at TCP traffic. We shall look for clues with this malware by looking at all the port 80 communication in secure port 80 and see if we can pick up anything. These are the port 80s that I found, and interestingly there's a port 587 which we shall note. Okay, I have now entered the IP addresses into VirusTotal, and these are all the IP addresses with port 80, port 587 and UDP, which are either malicious or suspicious. For example, port 587, 198.57.247.184. It is flagged as malicious by one of the vendors. 199.232.214.172 is also flagged as malicious. The endpoint UDP 224.00252, suspicious UDP. Endpoint is used by Accept Turla Mosquito PDF. Turla is a state-sponsored cyber espionage group, and this is its malware. The strain is known as Mosquito. Turla Group is known as an advanced persistent threat group believed to be linked to Russian state-sponsored cyber espionage activities. The group is also known as Snake, a venomous bear, or water bug. Mosquito malware is malware families that can conduct espionage with capabilities such as information stealing, network reconnaissance, command and control, and has got persistent techniques. The Turla attack techniques are usually spear phishing campaigns, watering hole attacks, exploiting vulnerabilities in systems, and often leverage on rootkits and backdoors to maintain long-term access. So this is a dangerous malware that we are looking at. Let's look at the malicious IP address 198.57247.184. And for your information, port 587 is the default port used for email submission by clients to mail servers using SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. You see SMTP is seen here. Looking at the SMTP packet, we see that the push flag and acknowledgement flag is set to 1, meaning that the client is sending data and acknowledging the receipt of previous data. That means my computer has sent out and reached out to this server and is now communicating with it. There is an hello desktop to my computer, the MCHJJK. You can see from the system information, and this is my computer. EHLO is an extended hello handshake command. Is used to initiate the SMTP communication. Let's follow the TCP stream and look into this IP address. Clearly this IP address is flagged as malicious, and there are commands relating to it. This IP address performs activity related to Agent Tesla. The domain is used as a command and control by Agent Tesla. Therefore, this is a malicious web address. From looking at this packet, it appears that the malware is exfiltrating data using the system to send unauthorized emails. There's a lot of encrypted data. The communication begins with my computer, the client, sending the extended hello command, where it is introduced to a mail server gated 3220, and then the command start TLS is initiated by my computer, and a response by the server is to go ahead with the TLS. That means the server is ready to proceed with TLS encryption to encrypt data between the two sites. Let's look at some TCP traffic with the acknowledgement flag set to 1 and relating to HTTP. And there is a lot of GET requests, high MS download update activities, which I did not perform. I did not request for any updates and downloads. At the same time, there is high file streaming service activities. This indicates that malware is trying to establish connections with a remote server to download additional payload or send stolen data or receive instructions. This malware seems to masquerade as legitimate system processes such as Windows Update or other system services in order to bypass detection. Let's expand our view on the TCP by looking at the insecure port and HTTP traffic that is going through port 80. HTTP GET requests that we saw earlier with the MS downloads and file streaming, and at the same time we see a lot of 206 partial contents. While it's normal for big files to be broken down into smaller sizes for streaming, but because I did not download anything except to perform some logins and to go to some websites, this is highly suspicious, and it is probably the malware downloading payloads in chunks, and they are using partial downloads to evade detection, to break up large malicious files into smaller chunks, to avoid triggering, for example, antivirus or firewall alerts, and make it harder for security tools to scan the entire file at once. This is highly suspicious because of the frequency of the HTTP 206 responses. I think this has shown us sufficiently that this is malware that is performing stealthy activities, and it has got key logging functions and ability to steal system information as well as credentials and data. Thank you for listening to the final malware analysis.